Um, it's actually interesting. Um, it's August 12th. So I've been doing a lot of different deep thinking, thought processing, different things that I need to achieve. Um, but one of the concepts that I'm recently learning is, you know, for instance, um, you know, there's this verse in the Bible. It's James 1:12, and the verse goes like this: "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trials, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." And the reason why this season that I'm in, that I'm moving towards like the wilderness, like it's so weird to face and be vulnerable in the ways of like striving for your goals and not knowing exactly what's the right path. Um, I say this because in my mind, I would assume like this is the hard thing. This is confusing. This is the confusing part. But in God's words, He's promised me that I'm gonna see the crown of life because I stood the test. Right? I persevered. You know, when I was going through a trial that was very hard for me. So, what was the trials that I've been going hard? That has been going hard. Well, there's a couple things, right? I've been making content and just documenting like how I've been feeling throughout the days and what I've been doing, uh, and saying like this is cool. Like me being able to have so many videos day in day out. Sometimes I'm confused. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I feel like I'm in purpose. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm in purpose. But one of the most important things that I get out of seeing these trials is that I feel like I am like following God, you know, living and taking up my cross every single day. You know, the true faith within that is being able to really go into the wilderness. Like, willing to be like, I have no clue what I'm going to do today, but I'm going to trust you. So for me, I was like, hey, I shot some new piece of content today. Never did it before. Um, very uncomfortable, right? But the way I see it is that I took that first step into doing something that was different. You know, I still feel like I winged it, but it was in the right direction. Um, and it's not about like for me, I'll be like, yeah, I'm cool with that, and it's not right. I feel like I need to elevate, but my goal has never been like I want people to see me, and it's changed a lot over these years of like going from I want people to see me, I want people to feel me, and you know actually be okay with who I am, and I guess I'm just learning all these different things where I'm trying new things and I'm being comfortable and I'm getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that statement is the most important statement when it's following Christ, because your everyday will be uncomfortable. If you seek that, if you seek being uncomfortable, it will be comfortable, right? Becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think those are the things where you get to the purpose of like you go into these tests and you feel like, hey, I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel like myself, but I'm searching to level up. And I think that is the test that we go through, you know? But he says, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life. And I think there's so much rooted in the crown of life. Like, what is the crown of life? You know, what is the things that unnecessarily that I need to understand to actually receive that. But it's a promise from God, right? It's a promise. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trials, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. And I think it's just like, while I'm here and while I'm doing what I'm doing, it's like I'm in business, and sometimes I'm afraid. Like sometimes I'm uncomfortable. And I think the things that I'm uncomfortable with is just writing those things down and being like, okay, God, take that. Okay, God, I'm going to do that now. Okay, God, I'm going to show up now. Okay, now I'm going to overcome my fear. Like it's literally, that's the thing. It's like you write down a thing, you have to do it to overcome it, to see how easy it is. Because sometimes we get so hyper focused because the slither of things that we have to achieve, it's literally a slither. It's like, I heard about this thing about the razor edge. You are a razor edge from becoming and living the dream that you want to have. And it's so crazy and impactful, because think about it. A razor edge is very, very sharp. So if you can get over the hurdle of being afraid of something, if you can get over the hurdle of, persevering through the trial that you face, because at the end of the day, it's about giving that problem to God and allowing him to dismantle that mountain, to dismantle that problem. Because once you allow him, that's where that true faith relies in. Like there was a portion where I'm like, yeah, I didn't know how I was gonna make money, and God started providing. I started believing. I started to succeed, and now I'm at a position where I'm like, man, I have to be a testament of overcoming the fears of doing things. Well, I'm talking to this person. How am I coming off? Where I would super analyze it, where I'm like, damn, my analyzation of the situation should never be this hard. So it's like removing certain things that I've done in the past, and seeing my eyes looking at things new. But I just think it's very important that we achieve those things, and we seek to be better. And for me, at least, I look at it, I'm like, wow, there's so much pressure when it comes down to, seeing how you move and seeing how you can look at certain things. And I think my new test is calling out those things that I'm afraid of. When I call them out and I do them, I have to not be afraid of them anymore. You feel me? I pray for them. I pray over myself, because that's by walking by faith and not by sight. That's really super, like when you really think about it, walk by faith and not by sight. Like that's so hard. That's 2 Corinthians 5:7, if you wanted to search it up. But it goes, James 1:12 goes hand in hand with 2 Corinthians 5:7. Walk by faith and not by sight. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trials. The trial can be the wilderness, dark. You don't know your footing. You don't know your setting. You don't know where you're going. But because you stood the test, the promise that God has for you is the crown of life. Because we love him. Because you love him. And I think that's just super important for me, to wanting to be better, wanting to achieve more. And just like where I'm at with my life is like, I don't want to be in the cycle of being like, I don't know what I want to do in life. I am constantly looking at my life and I'm like, yo, there's seasons in my life where I thought I was going to be this person. There's seasons in my life where I thought I was going to, have this person in my life. There's seasons in my life where I'm like, dang, all I want to do in life is just get my checklist checked off. But this is what's being presented. It's like that's what we have right now. So that's a little food for thought.